Good morning, my Teaser King family. How is everybody today? I hope you are well. I am well. We're all well. It's Sunday. Yes, I got it right this time. I woke up going, yep, it's Sunday. It was funny yesterday. I thought it was Sunday and it was Saturday, so I get a second Sunday. Anyway, how's everybody? I did hear from Daria. She's all nervous about needing an operation to get the tooth out of her cheek, however it got there, or I think it's like a cavity or partial tooth. It's not, I assume they'll just kind of, suck it out like with laser or put a small hole and pull it out. I assume that's what they'll do, but I don't know. Anyway, she just gets a little scared, and I can see living in Russia probably would make you scared with the KGB, FSB, and all that. But she's okay for now. I said they're gonna freeze you. You'll be fine. And I said look forward. I got her perfume for her birthday, which was the 25th. Mine's the 7th. I said, well, did you get it yet? She says, I'll get it the 25th. I said, well, there you go. Look forward to that. Kind of think positive, right? Don't be afraid of that operation. How much can it hurt? I mean, they're going to numb your thing and they're going to pull it out. It'll be done. Um, but I guess she is a scared girl, and that's fine. And, but see, now I understand that about her, and she's consistent. So I know she's telling me the truth. I don't doubt that she doesn't, as we were talking about lying and telling the truth yesterday, this is what you get. You get no lie from her. Everything she says, she backs up. She'll show me the perfume when she gets it. Not that I care. I'm glad she gets it. I'm glad she got what she wanted. But anyway, so I'm happy to hear. But see, now I'm getting more used to. I haven't heard from her in a few days. Where before I didn't know what to think, and now I knew exactly that she had the surgery and she was recovering, or she was scared or something, and that's exactly what happened. And so again, I don't know what to say to her. I said I wish I was there, but I can't just fly to Russia because I can't get a flight because they don't have them. Hey, Pat, how are you? Good morning. Trump just announced that certain cryptos will be in the U.S. National Reserve. Well, good for him. They'll be worthless. I don't know. He's trying to pay off the debt, and I think he understands the $36 trillion debt. I think he understands the inflation. And so I think he realizes he needs other things, and I think that's why he's trying to get gold. Problem is there isn't any gold to get. He has to come to you in Singapore and go buy a few ounces. So I think as a businessman, although not a good businessman, but a businessman, he realizes he needs to get gold to pay the debt, or trying to get crypto. I really don't understand it. It's not going to make the value go up. Okay, Bitcoin's worthless. And he'll find that out. I mean, I'll still take gold. Thank you very much. And I think he would too, but he doesn't have any. I think that was the whole, oh shit, we don't have gold in Fort Knox. What else can we use? Because we can't use dollars. A, nobody wants them, so they have no value. And B, they're printed to death. Which gets you to my point today about, we're going to look at the CIA guy.
The short, hard-hitting answer is that the military.
All right. So this is a CIA guy. Why war ends recessions, the military-industrial complex explained. It doesn't end recessions. This is the problem when a guy like this comes out, and he comes out very confident, and people believe this shit. All right, so let's listen to him for a few minutes, and then I'm going to rip him apart.
Industrial complex is our economic security blanket. That's what it is. The reason that the United States loves war is because war ends recessions.
No,
And
it
the
doesn't.
reason war ends recessions is because the military-industrial complex spins up. Tens of thousands of jobs are made. Yeah. Massive government spending is made. People make a whole hell of a lot more money. More taxes is taken, and then all that military-industrial produce, all the production, isn't just for us. It can be sold to the UK. It can be sold to France. It can be sold to Germany. It can be sold to Israel. It can be sold.
Now
to
you have money coming in. Yeah,
and you have money coming in, and the people who are, when foreign countries buy American goods, what denomination do they use? What currency do they use?
American.
So then how do they get American dollars?
They got to buy them for American dollars.
And then as you buy American dollars, it takes American dollars off the market, which does what to the value of your currency?
Increases the value.
It's net. It's like a triple.
Okay, so the guy's full of shit. Let's break this down. First of all, that's not how you improve an economy. You improve an economy by coming out with a product like a computer, like a cell phone, and then everybody buys one. So it's got to be the market that creates and it elevates the economy. Not so what he's saying is the government will spend money on the military. Well, we don't have money to spend. We got a $36 trillion debt. I know that. We got a $6 trillion or $5 trillion deficit, which means we're not getting enough money in and we're spending it. So how the hell, where do we get money to spend on the military complex? So they're going to go make weapons. Is this the best use of our money? Do we even have money to give them? No. Yes, they're going to create jobs. How many new hires do you think they have at the military? I'm sure they've got the people there, and they probably bring in contractors. They probably use robots and AI to make the Tomahawk missile. What do you think? There's a guy in the back room putting in 50 or 500 ounces of silver. Oh wait, shit! It was 480. I lost count. And making the missiles. You're not hiring people. Are you selling it to other countries? Not if they're not at war, and not if they have. What if they don't have money? This is gone. All right. So who's buying it and with what? They don't have the euro. It has no value. These countries aren't buying the industrial. Ukraine couldn't buy it. We had to give Ukraine the money to buy the weapons. So if we're giving money to the Ukraine to buy the weapons, and we're giving money to the industrial complex to make the weapons, and Ukraine's money laundering it, and they're keeping the money, explain how that helps the economy. Because it didn't, because we're still buried in a recession. We're very, very close to a depression right now. So what is he talking about? Now, from one standpoint, he's right in that you'll increase sales, so you'll increase profits, but you still don't have a good dollar. So you're increasing this. Oh, so people are going to want to buy weapons and they need dollars, and that takes dollars off the economy, and that increases the value of this. No, it doesn't. What increases value of this is this has no value. So how can you increase the value of it? It can't, because that's not how you increase the value of the dollar. You increase value of the dollar by productivity, not because it doesn't take dollars off the system. Yeah, but you got $140 trillion, let's say, somewhere in that neighborhood. Does that make it more valuable that you've taken a few dollars out? No, because it's not backed by anything. This is where economists like me can kill a guy like this. His assumptions are incorrect, but he sounds good and you believe it. Oh, let's have a war, and then we'll put people to work in the military complex, and they'll make missiles and guns and stuff and bullets and rockets. Boats, I guess. I don't know but it sounds like Tesla. Is there demand for this stuff? No. Well, they're at war. Oh, so they need weapons. Maybe they just nuke. Maybe they don't go to war. Can they afford to buy it? Their money's worthless. Are they really? Israel has their money's worthless. they've had massive inflation in all these other countries. So where do they have the money to buy it? It's nice, but you got to have the money to buy it. So the government's gonna have the defense contractors make all this military stuff. That's going to cost you, but to sell it to who? So this is the strategy that the government's using now. We're going to increase government spending. We're going to add more departments and more jobs. Instead of the industrial complex, we'll add jobs. And we'll have all this U.S. aid and all this other bullshit where it's all, nothing's real in that. And that's kind of what they're doing. So the government say, well, we don't need the defense contractors. We'll just hire people. We'll have 1 million people at the DOD and the U.S. aid and all this. We will add more, Homeland Security and CTU and all the things on 24 and the FBI and the CIA. We'll just add and add and add, and that'll stimulate the economy, and they'll buy more goods and services, which will stimulate the economy. How's that working out? Yeah, it probably isn't, because you don't have money to do it with. And as you pay for all these government services, you don't have the money to pay for it. So it becomes, I don't have the money in the first place to keep spending, and that gets you into this debt that you're in, 37 trillion. Hey, Prophet, good morning. So I was showing this video on this CIA guy trying to assume why war ends. Let's play this again. We'll play it for profit. So it's the first minute.
The short, hard-hitting answer is that the military-industrial complex is our economic security blanket. That's what it is. The reason that the United States loves war is because war ends recessions. Mm-hmm. And the reason that war ends recessions is because the military-industrial complex spins up. Tens of thousands of jobs are made. Massive government spending is made. People make a whole hell of a lot more money. More taxes is taken. And then all that military-industrial produce, all the production, isn't just for us. It can be sold to the UK. It can be sold to France. It can be sold to Germany. It can be sold to Israel. It can be sold
now
to
you have money coming in. Yeah.
And you have money coming in. And the people when foreign countries buy American goods, what denomination do they use? What currency do they use?
American.
So then how do they get American dollars?
They got to buy them for American dollars.
And then as you buy American dollars, it takes American dollars off the market, which does what to the value of your currency?
Increase value.
It's net. It's like a triple threat. It's like Justin Timberlake, man.
I mean, this is really well said.
No, it isn't well said. You're asking for more government spending. Well, what do we know about government spending? It doesn't cure recessions. It inflates the money to zero. You can't spend what you don't. You can't print money and spend it to get out of anything. That's what they're trying to do with the big government. It's all Keynes. It's all government spending, and that'll boost the economy. And it doesn't. You don't go having wars and killing people because you think that I'll spend money and they'll give to the defense contractors, and then they're going to sell it to these other countries who are also broke. Italy, France, Germany, they're not in a war. They don't have it. Who's in the war? Israel, they don't have money. Who else is in the war? Ukraine. We had to give Ukraine money to buy it because Ukraine doesn't have money to buy it. And so it's a very misleading comment what he's saying, but he's CIA and he says what he knows how to say very well. His trick is I say it with confidence. Now, I was watching a few other of his videos. And he says, well, if you want to, get a girl, you ask her about herself. Oh, so do you have brothers and sisters? So you get into her, and then she says, oh, he likes me. He's interested in me. And then I like him. And it's all like Ponzi scheming. But that's the CIA, right? So I sit there and I just wanted to rip this apart because this is not accurate at all. Government spending does not get you out of recessions. It causes depressions. Prophet, yeah, I've seen that guy before. He's a former, yeah, exactly. But what he says is not accurate, but he comes across that. So, Government spending does not get you out of recession. Otherwise, as big as the government is, they're the ones who create massive inflation, kill the dollar, give you the big debt, give you the big deficit, and your country's wiped out because the spending has to come from the market, not the government. So you don't create a war and then say, okay, go build all this artillery as if these guys are going to buy from you. I think what's happening now with China's making weapons. So I believe you can go buy from China probably much cheaper than you can for the U.S. So we're making this, and the military doing this bullshit, right? The war ends because the war ends. Recession has caused the massive inflation we're in. You keep printing, you keep building this stuff. Is more and more money printing, more and more inflation. $36 trillion in debt, terrible recession, terrible deficit. It's not productive. Okay, you might hire people, maybe, if you don't have robots and AI doing all the work, and it's short term and it's not from the market. You can't fake the market, just like Tesla with the electronic vehicles. Electronic vehicles that nobody wants, it's not going to last, right? And you can see Tesla had bad earnings because nobody wants the fucking cars. So if nobody wants the cars, that's not growth. It's a male investment, which is an investment that nobody really wants. So you're making electric cars, nobody really wants them. That's why I question Musk. If he was really smart, he would have made cars or something. But no, he makes electric cars. Well, there is no electric car in the market because nobody wants them. It's not like everybody's going, oh, we need a car, we need an electric car. Like when Henry Ford did it, you had the horse and buggy. So instead of a horse and a buggy and feeding the horse and cleaning up the poop from the horse, you had a car. And then you just, somebody, what it was, a Standard Oil made the oil for the car that would run. He made $1 billion. And then Ford made, well, Ford's losing it all with the Lions, but that was the point. That's productivity. That's how the economy grows. Not by having a war. Name one war that did. Let's see. France went out because of Waterloo and Napoleon's War. England went out because of World War I and World War II. So what the fuck is this guy talking about? War didn't end the recession. The Romans, they went out. Not necessarily because of the wars, but they had to take their gold and silver out of their coins. All right, so that didn't help Rome. I don't know Spain and Portugal if they went to war, but maybe they did. But we know France went to war, and it didn't help the recession. It bankrupted them. We know England went off the gold standard and went bankrupt because of World War I and World War II. So I'm not really sure what this guy's talking about. It ends a recession. It's caused this $37 trillion debt is because of war. And then we give the money to the Ukraine. And what does the Ukraine do with it? They don't have the money to pay us back. So we give them, $600 billion so they can buy our weapons. Then they force NATO to buy our weapons. NATO's like, hey, you better improve your defenses. Here comes Russia. They're going to invade NATO, which is never true. They were never going to invade NATO. So you have all this bullshit. Like this is the magic pill. If you have the military and industry, industrial complex work, they'll hire people that'll stimulate the economy. Well, first of all, let's look at the economy as a big pie. There's 100%. The industrial complex is maybe 1 or 2% of it. That's it. That's all it is. And we're already giving them, $1 trillion in the budget to start with. So we're already spending $1 trillion we don't have for the military. So how much more are we giving them? How much more weapons are they producing? Is it stimulating the economy? Absolutely not. Yes, you're hiring people, so they do pay taxes, but they're already working. You know, the recession makes people unemployed, so you don't pay taxes. And I don't go on a vacation because I'm not working, so it hurts the economy. But a few military contracts are not the answer because they're forced, and the government has to print more money, which is inflation. So all that does is it might end a recession because you're putting people to work, but you're missing the boat. You're creating massive inflation. Now, the reason we didn't notice it before, we had the gold standard, but that's why we got off the gold standard, was the Vietnam War, to get off the recession of the 1960s, where LBJ and all his high spending, Social Security and all these other, well, not so Social Security was in the 20s, but all the, was in the 30s, but all the welfare and all the social programs cost a lot of money, and that created a recession. And so we had to get off the gold standard because we had to print more money to pay for a war. Well, wait, that's not good. That's inflation. You've had inflation in the 70s, and Reagan came in and inflation was really high in the 80s, and we had a crash in the 87, a market crash. The market crashed in 2000 and then in 2008. And it's all because of this massive inflation. And they tried, maybe they tried stimulating the housing market by letting anybody, that was probably their idea. We'll let anybody buy a house. That way it puts the housing market and the plumbers and the electricians all to work building houses. Again, probably what happened, a misconception, again, that the government can stimulate the economy and grow it. That's Keynesian. Us Austrians go, no, the market has to do it because we've come up with the cell phone. We've come up with the laptop. We have flat screen TVs. We have baseball cards. We have Canadian clout. We have a market where we demand the product. That's how the economy grows. You cannot force it. You cannot Tesla it with electric cars and force people to buy them, or Tesla with the rockets. What are we all going to go take a trip to Mars and die because of the radiation? It's got to be, you can't force an economy. It has to happen. Adam Smith, the guy wants bagels and the guy wants muffins and the baker makes it. That's how you have to do it. You cannot do it. It's got to be us, Say's Law, Adam Smith. I want this. There's no demand for military. Now, what they're saying is, well, there's only demand for military if there's a war. Yes and no. If the country's so rich going to war, why are they going to war? Right? Germany went to war because they were broke and they want to steal the gold. Russia had to go to war because Germany was invading them. They had no money. Britain had no money. France had no money. The U.S. really had no money. So you had this war, which caused massive inflation all over the place. And why didn't Britain had to use gold to pay the U.S. for weapons? So you think we created World War II and let the Japs invade Pearl Harbor so we could make guns, and that's how we would get out of it? I mean, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. It doesn't hold water. War is not the answer to bad government spending and not having a gold-backed currency. I'm sorry. That's bullshit. That is absolutely wrong. And then what was his other point was, well, then people will buy our weapons and they'll need dollars to pay for our weapons. So in other words, France needs, and they can only apparently go to the U.S. for weapons. They can't build any. And then they buy it, but they need U.S. dollars to buy the cannons and the boats and the planes. And so they got to exchange their dollars for our dollars, which takes our dollars off the market. Does it really? I don't think so. You're not burning the dollar. All you're doing is the French are buying dollars to pay for it. So the dollars transfer from France, buys the U.S. dollars and then sells them to the complex, to the military industrial complex. So they give the money to Northrop or these other, military defense contractors. The money's still in circulation. The money hasn't gone anywhere. It's moved from the U.S. France bought them and then gave them to the U.S. So how is the dollar gone? At what point did the dollar disappear? You've created a demand for dollars because you needed it to do that, which was the whole point of the petro system. You created a demand for dollars to buy oil. But now that you don't need dollars to buy oil and BRICS is coming out with gold, the dollar, what happens, goes away because now all these dollars are printed and there's no need for them. And so that's massive inflation because we know inflation's printing the dollar. So he's saying the demand for dollars, go down. Well, let's listen to this again.
So that's why the military industrial complex was designed, and it's a big part of the reason that Eisenhower warned against it.
Yeah, his speech when he left office.
Yep. It was like are made, massive government spending is made, people make a whole hell of a lot more money, more taxes is taken, and then all that military industrial produce, all the production, isn't just for us. It can be sold to the UK, it can be sold to France, it can be sold to Germany, it can be sold to Israel, it can be sold to
you have money coming in. Yeah.
And you have money coming in, and the people who are, when foreign countries buy American goods, what denomination do they use? What currency do they use?
American.
So then how do they get American dollars?
They got to buy them for American dollars.
And then as you buy American dollars, it takes American dollars off the market, which does what to the value of your currency?
How does it take the dollars off the market? You buy them, and then what are you doing with them? You're paying for the weapons. They don't come off the market. They just transfer from the U.S. to France, who's buying the weapons, and then France pays for the weapons in dollars. So the dollars get transferred from the U.S. to France back to the U.S. How does that take it off the market? What's he talking about? Again, but because he knows how to talk, you believe it. This is what we struggle with every day in our world, going, why aren't people buying gold? At what point do they listen to these idiots and they go and say, oh. So when I watched this is yesterday. This is me at home yesterday. When I'm watching this, he goes into something on lying, and he goes, this is how you spot a liar, and you never answered the question. All he says is, well, there's good liars and there's bad liars, and until have enough information, you really don't know. And I thought about football. Caleb Williams comes to the Bears. You really can't bet him because you really don't know Caleb's skill and winning and losing. Now, after 1 year, we have a little bit more on Caleb, but now we got a new coach, so we can't use Caleb's stats from last year. We can use Daniel's stats from Washington. We can't use we can use Bo Nix. We can't use Penix yet, but it'll build this year. After about 6-7 weeks, we'll be able to trend Penix because you had Kirk Cousins who sucked. But again, Coach Pete's now at Oakland. We can't use it. So that's the thing that he was talking about with liars. You have to have enough information to know if somebody's lying or not. That's why I started this with Daria. She again said, oh, I need the surgery and I'm really worried about it. Well, this is the third, fourth time she's saying this. So therefore, she's telling the truth. Therefore, she's an honest person. Therefore, I'm not worried about anything from her. I'm not worried about her. Oh, I need money for this, that she's scamming me, because every time I send her food, she shows me, but I sent her for perfume for her birthday. I don't care if she buys perfume or not. As a birthday present. That's pretty common. I would send a couple $100 to my friends for their birthday. And what they do with it's their choice. She's choosing perfume, but she could do whatever she wants with it. So again, he really doesn't say a lot, how to pick up girls. Well, ask them about themselves. You should ask the girl, and as I said, my one friend who's a lifeguard was going into fly planes in the Air Force. So she tells me that. So I connected with her pretty good. She knows I'm into gold and economics, and I know she's now in the Navy. And I said, hey, if you need me, I'm there. Just, text or call me. And if you want to talk, or you're lonely, or you're hurt, or whatever is going on in the freaking Navy. But there's nothing that he told me that isn't very logical. Just like playing poker, like I said, when you first sit down, you got to read the people. You don't know enough to read the people because you don't know how they act and everything. So I was in Vegas. We're flying home from San Diego. and we had a couple hours. So I went to Caesars to watch a football game, and then I went and played poker. And so I go play poker, and I sit down the first hand, I get ace king. Okay, and I'm about to raise it, and some guy raises it. So I just call because I don't want to give information away. And the flop comes, I believe it was, I want to say king. I hit one of the cards. I think I hit the king. Or maybe I hit the A. I think I hit the A. I don't know. I hit either the ace or the king. So I'm about to bet my normal $50, $60. Oh, this is 1-3, no limit. So usually, like there, I would come out $50, $60. And before I could, the guy in front of me goes like bets 100. And now I'm not used to this. So I'm not used to the amounts because at MGM, you don't normally have these amounts. And then I don't know the player, so I don't know what to do. So I'm like, fuck, what do I do? And so I call, and then the turn comes, and he's again makes a bet. I'm about to make a bet, and he makes the bet. And I go, well, what do I do? He's making the bet. And then we get to the river, and he I think he goes all in or makes a big bet. And without knowing the player, I had no idea where he was. And so I fold. And the guy next to me says, oh, yeah, he bluffs a lot. Well, that would have been good information to know before, but I didn't know that. So I probably won the hand since I had ace king, and let's say it was an ace. So I got aces with the king. I doubt he flopped 2 pair and bet like that. I doubt he had a set and bet like that. Because again, when you have a good hand, you want to keep the person in. You don't want to bet them out. But again, I had no information on him. I didn't have enough to really go and oh, I know you're a bluffer, right? I didn't know. And I had, I'm in with aces and king, hoping I get the third ace, or, I don't know what I'm hoping. And again, that's why I start with $300. That's the most I'm going to lose is the 300. Now, had I won, I don't know. Fortunately, the next hand I get pocket queens, and I won a big hand, so I'm back where I was. But again, you don't know how the player is. You don't have enough information. Yeah, profit. He claims the U.S. dollar is increasing in value every time that money is taken out of circulation. What the fuck? The problem is it's always in circulation. Well, not only that, but you're not taking the dollar out of circulation, right? You're Canadian. So if you buy something, you want to buy something, a book from Amazon, right? You need US dollars or whatever. You don't need to buy US dollars. You can pay in Canadian dollars and they'll FX it to what it's worth in American, which is what these people will do. So let's say it's a Euro country, France, Italy, Spain, Germany wants to buy the weapons. They're not buying US dollars. They are simply paying for it. So let's say the euro is 97 cents to the dollar. So let's say this cost you $100 million. You would need 97 million euro to pay the $100 million because the euro is worth more than the dollar somehow. And therefore, you're not going to buy the dollars. You're going to buy it. You're going to pay Northrop or one of these defense contractors in euro, which they will accept and FX it. I know I've worked at Mercedes. They did that with Germany all the time. There'd be Germany we would get POs from Germany and they would pay it. We would pay it because of the FX. We didn't buy euros to buy it. If Germany was selling us something and they wouldn't buy dollars. So that's totally incorrect. And you're totally not taking, it's not going out of circulation and it's not going to make it more valuable. You've printed it to death. There is no way you're making this more valuable. I want to quote my cousin Vinny right now. And when they're going back to prison after the beginning of the trial, and the guy goes to Vinny, he goes, well, why didn't you ask him questions? You knew you could ask him questions, didn't you, Vinny? And Vinny goes, there's no fucking way a good old you kill the good old boy that we're not going to trial. And that's exactly what it is. There's no way that the dollar is going down in value, or is coming out of circulation and is worth more. There is no way that is how it works. You cannot. First of all, this doesn't go out of circulation unless you burn it. Unless you literally burn dollars, or who's going to do that? This is worth nothing. This is why you see this much of a dollar, and I should do the same with the euro. The euro is worth the same amount. The euro's worth 50 cents, and that's it, because the law is you print it and it loses value because there's too much supply. And you'll never get enough demand to do it. And it's vice versa in gold. Huge demand and low supply. And me and you are taking gold out of circulation, right? You get your bars, it's out of circulation, right? Because, well, not really, you have it. And that's the point with dollars. You have the dollars, they're not coming out of circulation. I go to the gold store and I buy 5 ounces of gold. It's not out of circulation. It's in my hands. Just like the Super Bowl tickets, right? 70,000 seats at the Superdome in New Orleans, and they were bought, and they're not out of circulation. And then somebody says, well, I want to go. Well, there's no tickets left. You got to go secondary market, and they buy a $1,500 ticket for $5,000. Was it out of circulation? No, it went from the stadium selling it to the individual, and then the individual selling to another individual. And that's basically what we have with gold. It's never out of circulation. It's just moved. So the dollar would move. They wouldn't even buy it. They would pay with their currency, with the euro. And they'd pay the defense contractor, and he'd get the money. The money did not grow in value at all. If it's not back to gold, the little amount, let's say it did, the little amount would be nothing. Oh, we're taking $1 million. Oh yeah, we got $170 billion roughly. Let's call it 170 for the petrodollar and everything else. So we got all that dollars. Taking $1 million out, let's say we actually did, that would have a big impact. Well, the problem is not that it's always in circulation. The problem is that there's too much in circulation, right? So you've killed the value of it because of the supply. Now what the problem is BRICS with the gold-backed dollar competing with the U.S. dollar, and it can't compete. I mean, it's like the 85 Bears playing the 85 Lions. It's not even a game. I mean, it's not even close. That's the problem. You need a monopoly to do what you're doing. The wars, I find, it helps the defense contractors who are the lobbyists to the government. They're the biggest lobbyists. So in reality, what's happening is they're making the defense contractors rich, but not the economy, and the money does not get more value. So this guy is, I'm not going to say lying, he's naive and he's not very intelligent, but he wants to come across that way. Prophet, there was an episode of SNL years ago where Dan Aykroyd claimed the best way to lower inflation was for everyone to burn $20 bills out of their wallet. That is a way to do it, but again, who's going to burn money that you can use? The best way to do it is, there's two ways. Come out with USD number 2. We'll end the inflation in USD number 1, or come out with new money backed by gold, USD gold, like the ZIG in Zimbabwe. All of a sudden their inflation's gone because now they have a gold-backed currency. How about that? But nobody wants to look at that. So just because you come out with USD number 2 or Euro number 2 or Ruble number 8 does not help your economy. Sorry, it's not going to help. again, you're dealing with a lot of Keynesians who think you can keep printing. Joe Rogan said that yesterday. Oh, well, we're like a company that has a blank credit limit. We can ask for as much credit as we want. Again, no, you can't. These people are just Keynesians, and I don't think they even understand it. Rogan doesn't. He doesn't understand economics. This guy is a CIA agent. Certainly doesn't understand economics. There was another one I want to show you briefly. This is called
Want to know how to turn your viewers into shoppers? It's simple. It's Shopify. My viewers call it that.
Yeah.
Okay. This one is what people don't understand about money. Oh, I can't wait for this one. Money is the illusion of power. Real power is within by controlling thoughts and feelings. Oh my God. So we'll play. This is a 6-minute. I'll see how long to play it. The host is actually, I think, Austrian, kind of. See, there's fake Austrians. They know, oh, Adam Smith, but they really don't understand Adam Smith, but they'll say it, or Invisible Hand, or what's the other thing we use a lot? Man, my mind's going. There's the invisible hand and then the other part of it. Oh my God. I'm losing it, guys. What's the other thing with invisible hand? Anyway, so they'll talk invisible hand, and they won't really they don't really understand what invisible hand is. And therefore they don't get it. What's the other thing? Now it's got, and I gotta find it. God damn it. I got too many notes to find it. Anyway, free trade, invisible hand, keep the government out of it. Oh, laissez-faire. Jesus Christ. All right, so they might understand they might know the term laissez-faire or invisible hand, but they really don't understand it and can't teach it. To me, you understand when you can teach it, right? If you can't explain what invisible hand is, or what laissez-faire is, or what Adam Smith did, or Say's law, you really don't know it. You just have heard of it, right? It's like saying, "Oh, they scored a touchdown." What's a touchdown? I really don't know, but I know they scored a touchdown, and that's basically what's going on here. So let's play this one, and it's again what people don't understand about money. We teach it here, or I teach it here every day. So let's see.
The reason I love the idea of your show and the mission that you're on to talk about what is money is because the one lesson that CIA taught me above all other lessons is that if you have the ability to create opportunity, you never have to be the one waiting for it. And what money really is opportunity. That's really what money gives you, right? And that's why everybody's on a hunt.
Money is freedom, not opportunity. Having money gives you freedom. Freedom is about, I can go, if I want to go travel to Amsterdam or Hawaii or any of those, I need money to do it. That's what money is. Money is freedom to move, to do things. You want to go to dinner, you want to eat, go to the grocery store, you want to buy a house, you want to buy a nice car. That's what money, that's the opportunity. That's why money is the means to an end and not the end. Money allows you freedom to do that. Not opportunity, it's freedom. All right, let's see.
For more money, whether they're poverty stricken or whether they're wealthy, everybody wants more money. Even the asshole out there that says, "Oh, can I cuss on your show?"
Of course.
Yes. Even
We're all about freedom here.
Yeah. Who says money doesn't matter? Money's not important, right?
Probably has a full-time job, right?
And push that guy a little bit further, or push that gal a little bit further, and guess what they're going to say? Eventually, they're going to say, "Well, if I wanted to do that, I need more money.
Yeah.
Right. So there becomes this friction point because we all really do see money as opportunity. We just don't want to call it that.
It's freedom.
No, that's a great framing, actually. We often describe money as like a tool of optionality, right? It can be used as an option to acquire any good or service in the marketplace, but that's very synonymous with opportunity, right? It's money is the freedom.
Money is freedom that allows you to buy things. It's not a hard concept, fellas. I teach it in 30 seconds. It's based on the medium of exchange. You buy things you need, you get paid, you then take that money and you buy things with it. And then it determines in the market what you can afford and what you can't. So the more money allows you to afford more. Okay, we get that. What's the point? So let's see if there's a point to this.
To mobilize human energy towards some aim you might have, right? Whether that's a business or a charity, whatever it may be.
Yeah. I mean, you're exercising your option for more comfort when you buy new shoes.
Yes.
You're exercising your option for more confidence when you buy a nice suit.
Right.
Right. You're exercising your option to control your social status when you buy a nice car.
That's right.
Hey, where do they get this guy? This is making the CIA look really stupid. What kind of examples does he use? No, it's a trip to Hawaii is your option. But yesterday or the day before, we got into investment. What was the four things I got into? Risk, investment, retirement, and gambling. That's the next level up. So we're up a level from what this guy's talking about. It's then what do you do with the money and how do you make more money? Money is the means to an end. So you're taking money, you're going to risk it on an investment, or you might gamble it for your retirement. And the best investment with the less risk and the less gamble is gold. So that sums it all up right there. Let's see if he gets there.
Right? I mean, that's what we're doing is we are buying ourselves an option.
Yeah.
I know I am certainly with my business, I am absolutely on a mission to grow and build wealth.
Yeah.
And I don't hide that. I'm not embarrassed by that. I don't think that's shameful.
Yeah.
Because any wealth I build gives me options, but it also gives my wife options. It gives my kids options. It gives the legacy I leave behind options. Because guess what I didn't have when I was a rural 16-year-old student in Pennsylvania? I had no fucking options. I don't want to leave that behind. That's not the legacy I want to leave.
Right.
We have the chance to change that.
Yes.
Forever.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody listening right now has a chance to change the legacy that was handed down to them forever.
Yes. No, it was very, very inspiring. And I think that's an original answer to the question, what is money? Actually is something like liquid opportunity. It does afford you that. And so what does that say about a lot of people in the world saying that we need equality of opportunity, at least? Now, equality of outcome, anyone that's clamoring for that, I think you're fundamentally wrong. Like, the only place humans are equal is in the great world.
Mm-hmm. That would create resources and produce and products that would then go back to the old world.
Yeah.
And in exchange for them taking the risk, they were granted first rights to land and salaries and everything else, right? It wasn't like they were trying to flee religious persecution. That's a story that we're told that is inaccurate.
He's talking about the pilgrims leaving England and coming here, which we don't care. Equal outcome is bullshit. If I got a master's and you got a PhD, you have more opportunity. If you can hit 300 in baseball, you can make more money than me because I have a master's, but you, in your position, baseball pays more, or football or basketball. So if you're an athlete, you make a lot more money with your physical skill than I do with my mental skill. But then you'll lose all your money and I'll make more money. Lazy fear and invisible hand. I can't see what happens to me is I'm not thinking about it, and then it comes into the subject, but my mind's not on that. It's on this, so that's why. But I always figure it out, but it takes a minute. So they never said medium of exchange, which is exactly what it is. They never said, well, but if you print too much of it, it's inflation and it ruins it. So what they're talking about is not opportunity, it's freedom. Freedom to do as you choose. requires money because we have a medium of exchange. Now, you don't necessarily need money to get the freedom. You can barter. So I pick football games at a very high rate. And I'll tell you what, you don't wanna give me money for my picks. You want to give me a car for my picks. Oh, if you win so much, I'll take a car instead of money. That's barter, but that's fine. You don't need money for that. This is the points they're not quite catching on. Um, if I pick so much, you don't have money to give me. You give me clothes. You'll take me to the grocery store, and if I make you $5,000, you'll pay. You'll give me 1,000 of it for grocery shopping, or you'll take me to the grocery store and you'll pay for. I'll fill my cart, which will be $1,000, and you'll pay for it. So that's the point. You've got to be very careful in that, understanding that it is being a medium of exchange. They use money to do it, but you don't necessarily need money. As we know, Carmen came and we didn't do anything with money, but I took her on a couple of trips and she stayed with me. She didn't have to pay rent for 3 months. So she didn't need money to do that. I paid for the trip and with me, and we went to Chicago and Vegas and New York, and I fed her. So she was living a good life. She didn't have to do anything. And she didn't need money to do it. So there's options to get away from that. Now, gold is gold money. Yes, it is, and silver. And it's what's better. What money is better, the dollar, the euro, or the gold, or the Montana card, or the Rolex watch? And that's where we break it down. So we look at things that are better than money, because money, they fucked up and it's worthless. And that's the problem. So since money is worthless, they now you have to find a different avenue. You still need the money for freedom, but we don't want this money, because this money, there is no freedom with this, because it's worthless. So now we got to go to, what else can we use for money? Gold and silver, the mantle card, the roll, all these assets you can use for money. Can you use stocks for money? Well, stocks are going to go with the dollar. So now it becomes the Titanic, and now it's, what is the Titanic? Well, it's the dollar, it's stocks, it's bonds, it's real estate trust, it's real estate, it's annuities, it's money in the bank. All of that is related to the paper dollar, which is the Titanic. So you got to get off of all of them, because they're not going to help you. So you use the dollar to gain more dollars, which is your investment in Apple stock or iTunes or Amazon or Microsoft or Coca-Cola or Disney, whatever your company is that you think will go up. So you got to think this is undervalued, and you got to struggle to go, well, why is Coca-Cola undervalued, or Disney? Because if you're buying it, you assume it's going to go up. So you're saying it's undervalued. It's going to go up because of a new product. Well, Coke's not getting a new product. Disney, all right, they added Disney Prime. Is that really everybody going to run in and get that, so they can get ESPN Plus and what's the other whatever, Disney, the Disney Channel and all that. So is that a way to raise value? Yeah, but nobody wants to go to the park anymore. You're too expensive. It was like, I took Carmen there in California. It was like $150 for two people. It was like $75 a ticket. I mean, it's a $20, $30 park, and then you eat there, and it was like unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. But so what you do now, you have to understand that the money's worthless. That's the first problem. And hearing people like this, you don't really know what's going on. So is that the end of, So money's always good, or money, the defense contractors, the money's always good. The inflation, the money's always good. It isn't. That's the point. All these military complexes cause massive inflation and a massive debt because the government's printing money for this Ukraine war. Well, once you print it, there's more out there that's worth less. They don't connect the dots. Why not? Why aren't they connecting the dots? So this guy comes across as a big shooter, and we're killing him. We're like, no, just like the other video. That's you're correct that money's freedom and that, but you're not getting into what it is, medium of exchange, and what else it buys, and that's you take it to buy other assets. So you can get your freedom, but you can get your freedom by turning money into gold and silver, or you can avoid being hurt by getting out of the stock market and doing what Egon says. It's a protection. Gold cannot go down in value because it's very limited and the demand's huge. You do have the price fixing, but that's going to blow up because you've got to eventually pay on these derivatives what you owe, because they want the physical. They don't want the paper. So apparently, the best I can understand it, and I don't understand derivatives totally. I understand options to a point, but I don't play them. So it'd be like there's two sides apparently. So somebody's shorting the gold, somebody must be buying the gold, or there's two. It's a two-way derivative or option, right? So the U.S. is shorting, somebody else is buying, I guess. And so therefore, instead of just buying and taking paper, that's how it was. Now that everybody wants physical, they're selling it and they're buying it. They want delivery. They want the gold. They don't want the paper. And that's where the hole is. And that's got to break. It eventually has to break. You can't just keep doing IOU gold and IOU silver and IOU da 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 da. And people are like, I want it. And when you're dealing with the Russians and the Chinese, you got to pay them. Me and you, they can get away with, but not the Russians and the Chinese. They will nuke us, and they will not be happy not getting paid, as we see on many movies like Jack Bauer. So that's really where it's all tying together now. You have the money, you want the freedom, so you invest the money. The Morgan Stanley guy that he deals with, there's somebody else he deals with, keeps saying, no, if you buy gold, it's dead money. You can't use the money. You're using the money for gold and you can't lose with it. And you take physical gold because you can't lose with it. That's the point of buying the gold, is you've got the money, and what do you do with the money? Well, it's a medium to it's the means to the end, not the end itself. So the dollars are going to go to zero if I just hold them. So I have to do something with the dollars. I pay all my bills, and when I got left, I buy gold, I buy silver, I buy Mantle cards, I buy Rolexes, or I buy stocks, bonds, and whatever. And so the choice of what you buy matters, and that's why you buy the gold and silver, because you can't lose in that. But if I buy stocks, I can certainly lose. It's very risky. You see Apple going up or Amazon going up, but now it's starting to drop. Tesla lost 30 points the other day. So now all of a sudden you start realizing, well, wait a minute, I can lose in the stock market. I can lose in the real estate trust, as Attack on Wall Street guy showed us. He lost 60 grand, as did everybody else, get wiped out. If I have all my money in the bank, will be safe. I won't make a lot, but I can't lose. No, because the dollar being worthless, you're getting 4% of nothing, or you do an annuity. The guy offered me 9%. I said, "I'll still be in paper. I don't want to be in paper. The paper's worthless. I don't want 9% of nothing." So that's really what you look at. That's the next level that he doesn't understand. So you're trying to get out. You've got the money, and you want to go on a trip, or you want to do this, fine, you do it. But if you want to store the money, there's a thing I have on savings, and it says you save because you feel the dollar will be worth more tomorrow than it is today. Otherwise, you don't save. So in this situation, we take the dollar and we go it into gold and silver because we know gold and silver will be worth more tomorrow and the dollar will be worth less tomorrow. So we don't want to save dollars because it will have no value. We want to trade it for gold and silver, and that's the best thing to trade it for. Or that, oh, well, the silver doesn't move. It's $31 an ounce. It doesn't move. It doesn't move. It'll move. It's price. So you got to understand the gain's price fixed. However, what the whole big thing now is BRICS with the gold and silver backed currencies. That is going to force the dollar out because it can't compete with it because there's 160 trillion of them. Even with a war, you still do not eliminate the dollar. It doesn't go out. How many new jobs do you think Raytheon created because of the war? Not a lot. I mean, they have to have people working there anyway. So what he's saying is there's nobody working at Raytheon, and then we'll have a war, and then there'll be 100,000 people working there. No, you probably have about 60, 70,000 working there anyway, because there's always a need for the military. I mean, people don't need a war to buy guns and buy tanks and to make a plane. The plane takes years to make. So does the boat. And all these things take time to make. So it's not like you just hire people. So there's no extra hiring. Is there more taxes? Well, depends. I mean, if they're working at a different place, there's no more taxes. The taxes that they were paying working at Toyota, and now they work at Raytheon. It's the same thing. So there's no big difference. The big difference is you kill a lot of people and you cause massive inflation because you're spending a lot of money without demand. And so, we'll make all these weapons. We'll cause a war, Ukraine. We'll make all these weapons, Ukraine. And then they'll buy them. Only, oh wait, they don't have money, and it's a lot. Usually these smaller countries. You're not warring with Russia. Russia can make their own weapons. Thank you very much, as can China. So you're really looking at the smaller countries. NATO. I think they have to buy certain things from the U.S., which they're breaking apart. Trump ended that. I believe we're not part of NATO anymore. We're not going to help them. So that's really where we're at. You buy assets because you realize the dollar is going out, and the war does not help the dollar going out. Because he's Keynesian, he thinks, well, if you raise unemployment, if you raise employment, lower unemployment, that'll stimulate the economy and that'll get you out of a recession, which is total bullshit. The recession is caused by the dollar losing value, and there's too much. Things are too expensive, so the economy doesn't work because you fucked up the barbecue place and the Camry and everything else because the dollar's worthless, and because they can't sell at this price, they're laying off people. So a war doesn't help Toyota build more cars or sell it cheaper or people buy it. There's more unemployment. So that's not how you get out of a recession. No. And you don't lower interest rates to get, well, you lower interest. The reason they raise interest rates for inflation is to cut costs, to keep the prices down because they think it's prices and they're wrong. So the only way you get out of this mess is to have gold and a gold-backed currency. That's it. There's one cure. So as I was saying on the Titanic, the stocks, the bonds, the mutual funds, the 401ks, the real estate trust, and the money in the bank and annuity are all in dollars. So you're on deck 2 or deck 3, but the boat's still sinking. And that's why you got to get to what investment gets me to a lifeboat, and that's gold and silver, because when the dollar collapses, gold and silver won't collapse because there's too little supply and too high a demand for it. And you don't have a low supply or a high demand of this shit. And so the Titanic sinks where the gold and silver doesn't. And that's where you get into it. And that's why it's the Titanic, because everything that you would put your money into to invest, to have more freedom, as he wants to call options, well, it's freedom. Freedom gives you options. We'll go, I'll meet him halfway, but it's total freedom. I can go to the gym after this and go swim because I can pay for the membership, and I can put gas in the car, and I have a car to go there. If I didn't have a car, it'd be very hard because it's 6, 7. It's like it's about 7, 8 miles to get to the gym. Well, what would I do? I guess I could get a bicycle and take an hour to get there and an hour to go home. That would be my workout. So that's the freedom I have of having money. It allows me to do that, or it allows me to have my phone, and then I can WhatsApp with Daria every day, or talk to you. I can have a computer and teach. I can buy clothes. I can buy gold and silver to try to, keep my freedom by getting out of the dollar. So if you really analyze it, he misses a lot. And again, money he missed is the medium of exchange. It's what works. It's what you get paid and what you buy. And Say's law is we create demand, not the other way around. So when Tesla wants electric cars, he's out of his mind. He has no clue what he's talking about. That's why I don't like Musk. Anybody that stupid, I don't like. And they say he's the richest man in the world. Well, it doesn't matter. He's in dollars. Okay, is he smart enough to be in gold? Then I would see intelligence. But the fact you're the richest guy in the world because the government paid you all this money and your stock's way overvalued because they keep pumping money into the stock because they want the electric cars to work. I think because they're Keynesians, I think if we take his the Defense Department as that's why there's no recession. Wars are good for recession, get you out of recession. So it sounds like, well, so does we'll have electric cars. That'll increase spending, and that'll put people to work. That's why they're doing it, because it's new, right? Well, GM and Ford already have it, but now we'll make GM and Ford build electric cars. They'll have to hire people. That'll get rid of unemployment. Yeah, but it won't work in the marketplace because nobody wants them. So here's Tesla. Oh, why don't you build rockets and electric cars? And that'll put people to work, because that's the way the Keynesians are. The Keynesians believe no unemployment and government spending gets you out of recessions, and it's bullshit. It doesn't do it. You need the economy to grow to do the economy. That's it. Let's look at Pat's. Trump announced that certain cryptos will be in the U.S. National Reserve. What reserve? What are we talking about there? Is there a reserve? You don't have money for a reserve. You got $37 trillion in debt. You've got no gold in your Fort Knox, and you have deficits. So certain cryptos will be in the National Reserve. What reserve? You're going to print more money and make the money worthless? I thought, well, you don't have gold in Fort Knox. I don't know how you're going to have crypto. It's not even real. Where are you going to put crypto in Fort Knox? You got plenty of room for it. Oh, wait, it's not real. Darn. Trump also said he'd end the Russian-Ukraine war in a day. And he keeps saying, if I was president, it never would have started. Yeah, we've heard it about 100 times, Trump. We get it. However, you couldn't do anything. Why couldn't you deflect it? Because George Soros was in charge, and he wanted the war because he wanted to get us out of the recession. He wanted to make money. He's the guy, and Sherlock Holmes too. Moriarty, that's Soros, right? He just, I'll sell guns to both sides. I just want to make money. That's George Soros in a nutshell. And so you don't have a national reserve to put crypto in. How are you going to buy the crypto? You can't just buy crypto because you don't print it. It's so you got to buy what? And then where do you store it? No, that he might say it, but it's not reality, and it's not safe. So he may be looking at crypto as a way out of the dollar. So he probably understands the dollar is inflated to death. So he's going to say, "Well, I'll use gold." Oh shit, we don't have any gold in Fort Knox. What else can we use? Oh, we'll use crypto. It's not an asset. It's nothing. Yeah, well, we'll use it. Gosh darn it. Well, what the hell? And that's That's the thing. So I don't buy that. All right, let's see what other goodies we got. He says World War III is here. Really? But he calls them, he's calling it because we're using Ukraine. So we're using like it's like a satellite war or whatever he calls it. What do you call it? A proxy war. So he's calling it a proxy war. So that's how World War III is going to be, proxy wars. So we have Ukraine fight Russia for us. Oh, really? As we try to make peace. And in Israel and in Africa and all these others, they're all proxy wars instead of World War II, where everybody fought the Nazis. And I'm like, nah, I don't. That's not World War III. It's just the proxy wars. So it's I don't know what he's talking about. He talks a lot that doesn't make any sense. The framework that will make you the art of seduction. He does how to spot a liar, and the problem is you got to know the liar. Like I said at poker, you got to sit at the table for an hour to see how the people play, or have played with them before, and you've spent hours playing with them, so you know how they play, and that's the real problem. So to spot a liar, you have to know the person if they lie or don't. And like I said, I was explaining about Daria. She's not lying. She's saying she's worried about this. She's saying, I'll buy the perfume. It'll come in the 25th. She didn't like say, I want perfume and then say, well, oh yeah, I'll buy the shoes. The shoes will come in. No. It's perfect. So she said the right thing. All right. Let's go to like videos. Do we have some alligator? Here's an alligator. Here's a Egon.
We only do physical gold outside the banking system for people in 90 countries, high net worth individuals. And our investors, great believers in buying gold for protection, for freedom and safety. But you don't need to be rich to buy gold. Anyone can buy a gram or a few grams of gold, or let's say a few grams of silver or an ounce of silver. For example, an ounce of silver costs about $80, which is nothing. You don't have to be wealthy to save. When I was young, I also got gold. Switzerland is still common to give gold away for birthdays or weddings, etc., like it is in India, of course. But most Westerners don't understand the value of gold at all. Only 6.8%.
So again, he's saying it's freedom. That's what money is, and gold is the best money to have. That's what the other guy fails to talk about. Is that's what it is to understand it. We talked about Fort Knox. I was watching the 74 Raiders Steeler game on YouTube, which the Raiders, that was the Steelers won. It was the week after the Oakland Miami Sea of Hands game. And I don't know that they were flat, but Pittsburgh just ran it down their throat, Franco. And Bradshaw sucks. He's so many turnovers. And then the killer defense. And Oakland never had a chance in the game. There was a bad matchup for them because they couldn't run the ball. And if you can't run the ball, you're not winning. You're not going to the Super Bowl. Pittsburgh could run the ball on them, and that was the difference. I think Pittsburgh ran for 220 yards in the game, and Oakland like 30. And just knowing that, you know who won. Good game. Now, apparently Oakland was a 6-point favorite. Boy, we would have had fun betting on Pittsburgh in that game, huh? Pittsburgh plus 12 in the under would have been, it did go under. It was 24-13. It was a 37. So definitely in the teaser. It was a beautiful teaser. It would have been a lock. The Pittsburgh plus 12 would have been a lock. If only we can go back to 1974. Huh? That's when it was good football. There was no line to gain. It was actual first down. There was no instant replay. When Lynn Swan caught a touchdown pass, he got his feet in. It was a touchdown. That was it. There was no drop. Well, let's see, did Lynn get his foot down? Yeah, it was a close call. He got his right foot in and he dragged his left foot, and it was clearly in, and it was a clear touchdown. And you're like, so much better. You could enjoy the emotion of it so much better by not having let's do an instant replay and see if he actually got his foot in, even though the ref's 3 feet away signaling a touchdown. Well, we don't really trust the refs. So what are they teaching us? Not to trust anything? Always look at the instant replay. That's like 24. The last episode, when at the end, Audrey dies, right? So if you're a 24 person, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And she had died in episode 6. Supposedly the Chinese killed her. But then she's on the phone and the Chinese guy, I got Audrey here. She's really alive. We faked the death. And so you weren't upset the thought that she died. But then in episode 9, when she gets killed by the Chinese, you're emotional. You go, oh my God, she died. And she's such a good actress at making you believe she died. And the other girl, the CIA agent with her. And it was just, even though she had already died in season 6 and came back, here's season 9, she died, and it was very emotional. And that's what you miss when they go to an instant replay. You miss that emotion. When it's a touchdown, you want to celebrate. Oh, wait, we can't. Did he get his feet in? Even though the ref called it yes. And that's what's missing. There was no line to gain. There was no first down. This is much, much better to watch these old games. Prophet, I wonder if the Immaculate Reception play would have been overturned if they had instant replay back then. No, it wouldn't have been overturned because you never saw there's 2 questions, right? Well, the one, Jack Tatum clearly hit the ball. Otherwise, how does the ball go back to Franco? So it might have hit Frenchy Fuqua, but the impetus was not Frenchy Fuqua knocking the ball back to Franco. That had to be Jack Tatum. There's no doubt about that. And then the second one is that you never see is when it comes to Franco and he catches it and then he runs for the touchdown. You never see if the ball is on the ground. And so therefore, if the refs are calling it good, you have no way of saying, oh, look, it hit the ground. And therefore, if the ref called it, and the ref never called it a touchdown for like 15 minutes. But clearly Tatum hit it. And clearly Franco caught the ball, and you must assume it didn't hit the ground because he was just too smooth with it. He caught it and never broke stride. So you would think, yeah, that was a good catch. And you couldn't overturn it. And really, you got to blame Jack Tatum on the play. If he would have just not tried to smash Frenchy Fuqua and just kind of tackled them, then they never would have bounced back, and Oakland wins the game. So it's all Jack Tatum's fault. Pat, looks like most participants who bought silver on the Comex want practically all delivery and physical. Oh, absolutely. That's what's happening. They're already about 30,000 tons short. So Comex has about 30,000 tons to buy to deliver. Absolutely. And the same with gold. That's why all the U.S. gold came in. The U.S. gold came in. All that gold came from London was to pay off derivatives of Comex because nobody understands Comex. People are now taking delivery. And so when you do an option, the other side of it says, we want it in gold. We want physical. Where before it was New York and London just trading options, never taking delivery. That's why it worked for so long. Now the Russians and the Chinese are saying, I want delivery. And you can't mess with them. And that's what's happening. So they will need the delivery of it. And the same with silver. And the problem is they don't have it. There is none available. Gold and silver are sold out. You must understand that. You think, well, there's 200,000 tons of gold out there. Yeah, but it's gone. It's already in. Go to the Chinese and Russians and Indians. They have it. There's no gold sitting around. There's no gold mine sitting there with 20,000 tons just sitting. No, it's gone. Same thing with silver. It's gone. There's what, 500,000 tons of that, if that. I thought silver was smaller than gold, but I'm not sure. But so when I looked at it, there's more silver than gold. Well, let's say there was. It's all gone because you're using it. Gold's just used for money. Silver's used for solar panels and electric batteries and stuff like that. But it's gone. It's because of that extra use. There is no silver. Plus, Luke's got 5 boxes of it, right? That's what times 500 times 5 is 2,500 ounces. We all have 6, 7, 800 ounces, 1,000 ounces. So there isn't any silver left either. So as I say with the Super Bowl tickets, the only way to get it is you're going to pay a lot more for it because nobody's going to give it to you at these low prices. This is why your first comment about Trump announced cryptos will be in the National Reserve, because he doesn't have, the dollar's worthless, and he doesn't have any gold or silver in Fort Knox. The only card he's got left is crypto, which is worthless. So look for that to be a big issue. But yeah, the prices should go to the moon. So the prices started coming up Friday afternoon. I know we talked and they were getting buried down to 28.30, and they ended about 28.60. And I would imagine China will buy it tonight. It starts about 6 o'clock, and you'll just see it go to, I would be surprised if you didn't see 2,900. The U.S. is the one trying to lower the price to buy it. Right? Understand the concepts. You must ask why, right? Why is gold 2,000? Now, why is gold 2,900? Well, you just told us, because everybody wants to take delivery. And so the demand's higher, and the price has to go higher because it's very limited. Unlike the dollar, which is massively overproduced and therefore not limited, and therefore nobody wants it. Profit, but the rule at the time was the ball could not deflect off of one offensive player to another. Well, I understand that. That's what I'm saying. So if Jack Tatum hit the ball back to Franco, which is how else could the ball go backwards, then that would have been fine. Now the rule is if it hits Fuqua and he deflects it and then it goes to Franco, it's a different story. But he didn't do that. You could see with the force to go back 20 yards, obviously Tatum was the impetus of knocking it back. That's why the play was good. So I don't think that would be an issue. Comex will default this month. I heard the end of March. I know by July 1st they have to settle everything. So I hope you're right. It's just go buy the gold and silver. I think this is near the end. I think I'll go to my store on Tuesday just to check what's going on. Actually, it's my birthday Friday. I think I'll go in Friday just to buy myself a birthday gift. I usually buy an ounce of gold and some silver for my birthday. The perfect birthday present. At the same time, the UK Prime Minister announces boots on the ground in Ukraine. It's your birthday on Thursday. Oh, happy birthday, Pat. Mine's the 7th. Yours is the 6th. When I was in elementary school and junior high school, I had a friend who was March 6th, and I was March 7th, and I had another friend who was March 8th. And it was kind of weird. I never had a March 7th with me. But yeah, us Pisces. That's why I like Daria so much. She's a Pisces. She's February 25th. She just had hers. So yeah, I like Pisces people because they're honest, right? So happy birthday, and go buy an ounce of gold on your birthday too. Okay, so well, now you have a new friend on March 6th. Oh, that's good, Pat. Thank you. You have a friend on March 7th. At least we'll always remember our birthdays, right? Like I remember these two guys' birthdays. I don't talk to them, but I remember who they are and their birthday. And now Daria's daughter is like July something, so I don't remember hers, but Daria's the 25th. I like that. I like Pisces. My ex-wife was a Scorpio, and Carmen was a Scorpio. I ended it with her. No. I don't like Scorpios. Anyway, so the UK Prime Minister, boots on the ground. Does he even have a military to put boots on the ground? Russia will kill him in 5 minutes. Trump certainly can't back it. I don't know who this British Prime Minister. He seems like a real idiot. Doesn't understand economics at all. How are you going to pay for it? So, according to this idiot here, who's saying war ends recessions because of the buying the weapons. So where's the UK have the money to buy the weapons? They don't. So we're just going to give them the weapons, or we're going to buy them and they'll owe us. We don't have money to do that. So, oh wait, but then they'll hire people and they'll pay tax. Well, no, they won't hire anybody. They are at full capacity, I'm sure. Oh, they'll bring in robots. Yeah, they don't pay taxes, robots. They'll use AI. Oh, so they'll have even less people, not more. And what's the British going to do against the Russians? They have no chance. Boots on the ground. Well, I don't even know what that is. They don't have many people to fight. They have no economy. Okay, so what's this strategy? This is George Soros, who probably put this guy in, trying to make money by selling weapons to the Britons. Is that what this is really about? So it's George Soros being the guy, Moriarty in Sherlock Holmes 2, where he has the war to sell weapons to both sides. So why do these people get into weapons? I don't know. Well, let's create a war so I can sell my inventory. Why did you choose weapons as your inventory instead of cars or whiskey or glasses or painting? You know, why is military your inventory? I'd like to talk to these people about that. Well, they need it for war. Yeah. So you like wars, you like killing people. Oh, okay. That's really the problem with it. Anyway, so yeah, it was a good game. And yeah, the Immaculate Reception would have never been reversed because you couldn't tell if Franco caught it or not. Andy Shackman, gold and silver will instantly explode, but he never answers the question. I hate his headings because he puts the headings in and then he never talks about it. And you're like, well, you said it was. $3,000 silver overnight. Andy Shackman, big silver announcement, but again, doesn't really explain it. Gold. I think we listened to Egon. Yeah, Mark McGraw. Here's a little stoic thing.
Let's get straight to it. 1. Control your reactions. Most people lose their power by reacting emotionally. Stay calm. A controlled mind is an unbreakable mind. 2. Never complain. Complaining is admitting defeat. Instead, adapt, solve, move forward. 3rd, train in discomfort. Do hard things daily, cold showers, fasting, intense workouts. If you don't challenge yourself, life will do it for you. Cut out weak talk. Stop saying, I can't, I'll try, or it's too hard. Your words shape your reality. Speak strength. 5, master silence. Not every battle needs a reaction. Sometimes silence is the most powerful move. 6, accept pain as growth. Pain isn't suffering, it's a lesson. Lean into it. The stronger your tolerance, the tougher you become. An IRA match on qualifying.
You gotta love Marcus Aurelius. So those are the 6 to master. Alligator talks about a paper gold crisis. What does that even mean, paper gold, right? It doesn't mean anything because it's paper. This is paper. This isn't paper gold. So paper gold's the derivatives. It's Comex. They're in trouble because people are taking delivery, as we know. The best profit margins are on weapons. Maybe. I don't know. Is it because you're at war and you'll pay whatever? I mean, you don't have the money to buy them in the first place, so you print the money and you buy them. But is it really the best profit margin? And does it? But again, it's a product that there has to, like in all economics, there must be demand for it. So you're creating the demand with the war, but can you buy it? You're creating electric cars. There's no demand for it, right? So you're creating a war. So, oh, I need weapons to fight a war. Well, I don't have money to buy the weapons, which is what most people are at now. They don't have money to buy the weapons. The British don't have money to buy the weapons if they go into Ukraine. Ukraine doesn't have money to buy the weapons. That's why the U.S. is giving them all this money so they can buy the weapons, because that's how the U.S. thinks they'll get out of a recession, because now we see how the CIA thinks. There's no answer to that. There's no, you can't afford it. Ukraine will never pay it back because they have no money and they're going to lose the war. So all that money's gone because wars are very expensive to buy all this goods, all these goods and weapons. So I understand that it's a product that needs a demand, and you have a war to create the demand to buy the product. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen, how you create a demand by creating a war. Totally immoral, I think. Now, not that there should never be a war. They don't make any sense. What are you fighting over? So if the U.S. wants the mineral rights and the oil in the Ukraine, why don't they just negotiate? Why have a war for it? Just negotiate. Okay, how much? We'll give you 50 cents on the dollar to get the minerals and the oil, and then Russia can negotiate too. So this can all be very easily negotiated. You don't need a war for it. You kill 1 million Ukrainians. To do what? And then Putin gets it, and then this is insanity, right? So how do they justify doing the war and then selling the weapons? But we made a good margin. Did you get paid? No, because nobody can afford them, so you didn't get paid, and that's really the thing. So let's just call it a good profit margin. I'm not sure if it's the best. How much do you make on a rifle? How much do you make on a Tomahawk missile? But I guess you can make your own price. But again, only if you can afford it. Only the professor can afford it in Money Heist because he's got all the euros. But it might be, but you don't need a war to sell weapons. I mean, I'm Italy. Oh, our defense is low. We need to buy more weapons. Can we afford it? No. Well, but if we have a war, then we'll just get the weapons, and somehow magically we'll have the money for it. So I don't know what to say on this because this is just bullshit. Even if it is the highest profit margin, and I'm not saying it is, I think the price, as we talk about the market and my ribs at $45 and nobody will buy it, or the Camry at $35,000, nobody buys it. What do you make a tank? $20 million, and how many of those are you going to sell? Or Tomahawk missiles or rockets and all that stuff. How much are you going to sell? $1 trillion aircraft. Yeah, you might sell one of them, but I mean, you're way over market on that. But again, it's a war, so you panic and I need weapons. Well, then maybe don't go to war, because if they are like, as you said, then okay, the Ukraine and Israel and Saudi Arabia and Libya and all these countries in war, it'll bankrupt them, right? Because they don't have the money to afford it. So it's really expensive. Okay. The Raytheons make good money on it. but nobody can afford it. So they all go broke. So it's a one-time thing. Because as we know, you can't just print money. You can't print it to death. And that's what, so amazingly, how has the US printed their money to death? They spend $1 trillion on defense. And what do they think? They're going to sell it to these, we're going to create a war. And so we can sell the $1 trillion budget that we gave into Raytheon. They'll sell, and then we'll get the money back. Well, no, Raytheon's getting the money back, not you, because they built it and they're buying it from Raytheon. As you heard that one guy say, the U.S. sent money to the Ukraine, and then the Ukraine bought the equipment from Raytheon or Northrop or whatever. How does that help the government? The government's not getting the money. The defense contractors are, and they're private businesses. They're not the government. So I don't know. It's a really bad situation and a really bad problem. But what you must understand is it ends up bankrupting you. As I said, the French in the early 1800s, and then the English, World War I and World War II broke them. So at the end of the day, the people buying the weapons are broke. So you can't sell to the British anymore or the French. They don't have any money. So what do? And that's, we'll come out with new currency. We'll come out with the euro and we'll spend that. We'll spend all that on military. And at the end of the day, you cause this mass economic explosion. All the money's worthless. And that's where we're at. So even though it might be the best profit margin, it's US dollars, which don't have a value. That's why we buy gold and silver, because you can never fuck that up. Let's say you had gold. Well, look at the British. They had gold, right? They were the number one power in the from 1820 to like 1930 or whatever, until they had to use gold to pay in World War I, and then gold to pay for World War II to get all their weapons from the U.S. And how did that help the U.S.? Well, we had the gold, but we sold it, and now we're broke. So we lasted a while selling weapons for gold. Did it get us out of the Depression? I'm not. Well, we won the war, but Hitler's way was to steal all the gold. That's how they got out of their depression, with gold. They didn't have any money. They were broke after the war. When they lost, they were totally broke. So I don't know that the U.S. Getting the gold from Britain helped them. So really, it's the gold that is the key, and why you sell it, and why do you even go to war? Why do we need the industrial complex if we have all this gold? We'll sell weapons to both sides, because we watched Sherlock Holmes too. What is that? That's just insanity. That's the best thing you can do. So supposedly we have all this technology, which I doubt, because I'm sure the Russians and Chinese are much more advanced than we are. Taiwan has that really good chip, and then there's a big IT thing in Amsterdam is really a big hub for certain chips and IT technologies. So that's what we're selling. We're not selling goods anymore. We're not selling cars and shirts and everything. It's all being sold by the Chinese. So we're just selling intellectual property, which the Chinese keep stealing and the Russians keep stealing from us. But is that what we want to be? Is that a healthy country? Oh, yeah, as we're going broke. So that's not helping us. And then what are these tariffs? We don't make anything. So so the tariffs idea is we're going to tax the companies for selling us their goods, and we'll get rid of income tax because you can make them a lot more with tariffs. Although, can we afford to buy the stuff that China is selling to us on the tariffs? I don't know what we get from Canada and Mexico. Mexico, I think we get avocados. Canada, what do we get? Ice skates and hockey sticks? I don't know what we get from them. Lumber, I think. I know they had a massive fire burning everything that are being set by the Soros group. They're the ones causing these fires all over the place and getting rid of the lumber. And then I'm sure there's a reason for that. And then the big fire in LA. Again, you got rid of homes and you got rid of trees, and they didn't have water to use. What a mismanaged joke that is. So it's unfortunate, but you got really weak leaders, really stupid leaders who don't understand it. And so they got to realize that's not what you do. You've got to create wealth with productivity. So if you have a new product, if you have an iPhone, if you have a cell phone, that's what moves the economy. Creating a product, not forcing people to buy an electric car, does not create, and it doesn't put jobs. It creates jobs. It didn't create jobs at GM and Ford, and they were the first ones laid off. Well, we can't sell them. We're losing money, so that costs jobs. And then the people working on the electric cars got fired, and they eliminated the thing. So how did the electric cars help that? It's the same thing with the war. At what point, how many weapons can you sell? Because it's not like the money's unlimited. At some point, Ukraine says, I can't afford these weapons. So I think that's what Trump's doing. And he's saying, well, we'll take your minerals in lieu of payment. So you give us whatever raw minerals that you have, although most of it is in Crimea and Donetsk and Kharkov, where Russia is sitting on them. So you're not getting those, and that's where they are. They're not anywhere else in the country. So you're not getting. There's nothing there to get. Most of it's been blown up. It's not a good scenario in the Ukraine. They'll be starving soon because they need to grow food, and then they need to transport. And I heard that as the answer to why Japan, why we nuked Japan. We actually saved millions of lives because in Japan, everybody was dying of starvation because of the war. They couldn't ship supplies, and Japan's an island, I think. So they couldn't get food in. So everybody was dying. And so by ending the war, they were able to now ship food into Japan. So that's the real reason the atomic bombs were to end the war so the people would stop starving, which that's exactly what happened. Profit. Oil, lumber, metals, Canadian America are the two biggest trading partners in the world. But we don't need your oil. We'll get that. Lumber, yeah, I know, but we burnt most of our lumber. Metals, so we get steel from you. Okay. As well as hydro energy. Well, that's all from Niagara Falls, right? Steel is also a big export. So, well, that's what you said, the lumber, the metal. I'm not sure about the oil. Gold and silver, obviously, you have all the gold mines. 23% of all the oil comes from Canada now, but as we start pumping our own oil, we have plenty of oil. It's just Biden stopped it. So now we have to, Trump will start it again. We won't need Canadian oil. But, okay, so that's what comes. 23% of the oil comes from Canada. Okay, so they're going to tariff it, but they're price fixing it anyway. Oil is Comex, so oil's price fixed. I just drove down yesterday. It was $2.80 a gallon. It should be a lot more. In California, it's a lot because it's taxed. But in Michigan, it's $2.80 a gallon, and it's price fixed. So it really doesn't. So all that it's going to hurt is Canada will have to pay the tariff on the oil. We don't pay the tariff on the oil. We're tariffing you. We're saying whatever you're charging us per barrel, we're adding 10% or 20% or whatever. So you're the ones who have to pay more. That's the problem with tariffs, and then it becomes off the market. It's too expensive to buy. So it only hurts you. I think that's why Mark Crane or whatever your guy Trudeau is resigning, because he knows he's going to look like shit because they can't handle the tariffs. And Trump's like, we want to get off of income tax. We want you to pay our taxes because we need to take care of a $37 trillion deficit. and we're only going to do that by tariffing you. We can't. It's all government workers now, but we can't raise taxes on them. So it's just crazy. Canada is now the 5th largest producer of oil. Well, Venezuela's the number 1, I think, and they're broke. They don't know how to refine it, but the country right next to Venezuela, this tiny country, has a lot of. They just discovered a lot of oil. So I don't know what Biden was thinking, or George Soros was thinking, with going to wind and electric, going to wind and solar instead of gas, fossil fuels to do it. So I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know. They're the 5th largest. Yeah. I mean, where's your oil in Vancouver or on the east? I know these cold places tend to have a lot of diamonds and, precious metals, gold and silver, because you have it so cold. It must produce gold and silver cold weather, because Russia's got a shitload of it in Siberia and that area where it's really cold. But you won't find a lot in Africa. Well, I guess you do in South Africa. There's some gold. But I do know there's a lot of diamonds and precious metals in the colder places. Alberta is the new Texas. Calgary. Yeah, there you go. So it does create supply for oil, which should lower the price. But tariffs, is he going to tariff oil, steel? All that's going to do is raise the price of steel, because the U.S. can't compete. Does the U.S. even make steel anymore? The U.S. steel? I don't know. Alberta, Edmonton. Wayne Gretzky's probably there. Why do you think they are called the Edmonton Oilers? Because Wayne Gretzky named them the Edmonton Oilers. The Houston Oilers too. Anyway, that's what we have. So understand money and everything is really about freedom, as we say, and the best freedom you're going to have is gold and silver. That's why I put you in it, and I don't put you in Bitcoin, because you can't rely on, you don't know what Bitcoin is. It's not real. It's not limited, and you can't hold it. So how do you invest in the air? I got Bitcoin. What is it? Can you show me a Bitcoin? No, because they don't exist. So you're buying something that doesn't exist. What the fuck is that? So yeah, I mean, that's what we started the show with Pat saying, hey, Trump's going to do crypto in a reserve. He doesn't have money in a reserve. What can he put in a reserve? $37 trillion debt and a $7 trillion deficit. What kind of reserve do you have? I mean, that's just ridiculous. So I don't buy that. He can say it, but just like you said, there's gold in Fort Knox, and now he's realizing it's been stolen. It hasn't been stolen. It's been sold. What else can we talk about? So again, the financial power, there's five things that make you a financial global country. Low taxes, which you got to get back to. Free trade is the most important. That's why I don't like tariffs. A rule of law, obviously, so people can't steal. Gold-backed currency, stable money, and good communications between the thing, which we don't have now. So that thing with Zelensky and Trump was pretty funny. Zelensky's didn't come in a suit. What the fuck is that? You're meeting the president of the United States and you come in a t-shirt and jeans, and then you interrupt him the whole interview. He's interrupting Trump, which I could see Trump didn't like. He would have fired him if it was on The Apprentice. You don't talk when, look, you might not like Trump, but you don't disrespect him when he invites you to the White House. Yes, sir. No, sir. Just like in an interview or with your boss at work, you respect the boss because he's the boss. You might not like him, but you've got to just go along because that's how you get your paycheck. Why do you think they called it Edmonton after the oil? Yeah, I get it. That's what I said. The Houston Oilers. There's a lot of oil in Houston also. But that's fine. But that's still, you're competing in a market, and there's other countries that make oil, and so you still got to keep your price low because we can tariff you, but if we get oil from other countries like Saudi Arabia, we don't tariff them. So you got to compete with Saudi Arabia and Venezuela and whoever else you're buying oil from, Russia. I don't know. You're not buying it from Iraq or Iran, but you are probably buying it from Saudi Arabia. So it's some free market competition is what you're doing. And so we're tariffing you really helps the Saudis, let's say. So maybe that's what's behind it, right? We'll make it non-competitive for the Canadians to sell us oil, but that lets the Saudis come in. We'll see. There's always some reason behind the scenes you don't know. Just like we'll start a war so we can sell arms to both sides. Well, you don't know that, but that's why they do it. That's exactly what Raytheon wants to do, is sell their weapons to both teams, the Russians and the Ukrainians. So there's plenty of wars. So Raytheon should be pretty busy for a while, but that doesn't end the recession. A few people working at a defense contractor who were already working. There's no new people there. So, but that they kind of open the door to what the CIA is. They want to create the wars to end the recession, and that won't work. You can't do that. You've got to fix the money. This is your problem, the inflation. And you can't fix inflation because of a war, because it costs money. It just prints money. And that's the real issue. All right. Again, the different assets, there's stocks and bonds, and there's my baseball cards and the Rolexes and everything else. And that's what you have. You have different things. Let's see. England was the number one power. Let's go over here. From 1821 to 1914, England was the number one power because they had gold. They adopt Adam Smith's views. Funny how everybody who goes to Austrian economy is the number one power until they get off the gold standard. 1830s, they outlaw slavery. They adopt free trade. They rule of law. They adopt the gold standard. Laissez-faire, here you go. And low taxes. That's how you become the number one power. I don't understand why more people don't do that. And then how the fuck do they let George Soros in it and let him tell you, oh, no, we got to be Keynesian. You can print the money to that. Oh, wait, it's adopt the gold standard. So what our CIA guy, what he didn't say is, if you're on the gold standard, you will never have wars, right? So how do you end wars? Laissez-faire, invisible hand, adopt the gold standard. Because if you have gold, you can't buy all the weapons because you don't have money for it. Or the weapons have to be cheap enough that I can give you gold for them. But if I have, when we've been on the gold standard was 1879 and 1913, there wasn't ever a war because you didn't have money for the war and you're busy doing business and productivity because you had the gold. Standard Oil came in and all the Rockefellers and the JP Morgans and all that thing came in because of the gold standard. And therefore, you couldn't have a war because you couldn't spend more money than you had gold. And that's what's needed in these defense contractors. They want to gouge you with these extremely high prices because you're in a war. You need a Tomahawk missile. Well, it's going to be $1 million. I don't have $1 million. Yeah, but you're in a war. You're going to lose the war without the weapons. And that's what it is. So do you realize if we're on the gold standard, you cannot have a war? So we choose not to be on the gold standard so we can have the defense contractors run the country with their lobbyists. And that's why people go into politics now for the wrong reason. They go into politics to get the money from the lobbyists. And that's why you have the wars, because they're the defense contractors. Okay, Howard, you want to be a senator? Here's $2 million, and I want wars, and I want I want wars, and I want people buying my missiles. Oh, okay, sure. You gave me $2 million, whatever you want. That's the problem with politics now. And the biggest problem with government, if you stayed on the gold standard, government could probably be okay because you wouldn't expand it. But the reason is now that you're off the gold standard, they keep expanding government, which costs money that you don't have. You can only get in so much in taxes. So here's your tax revenue. Here's your government revenue that you need. This is your government expense, but this is all I'm getting in taxes. So how do I pay for this part of the government? Because I don't have taxes. I'll print more money, and then the money's worthless, and that's where we're at. So anytime the dollar's not backed by gold, you buy gold. And that's the whole world is in this now, but Zimbabwe. And that's the problem. That's why everybody's crashing. And here comes BRICS, who understands this and says, oh, we need to buy gold and silver. And they're buying as much gold as they can because they realize that's the answer. And China realized it. They got 60,000 tons of gold. They must have really realized that. We have none. They got 60,000 tons. Who wins that war? Well, China does. They'll just outspend us. They'll spend us and our money will be worthless. And the money's worthless, you're done. And that's really the problem, right? So it's fascinating. With this, standard of living goes up, longevity goes up. No world wars, as I said. First power, not due to military, but due to industry. Held 1/3 of the world, strongest navy, only property owners voted. English strategy: 1, strong navy. 2, financial stability, always paid their bills. Pound sterling was gold. 3, divided Europe, kept all countries fighting themselves, no other, so they got rid of competition that way. London World Banker bought London bonds. London bought bonds from around the world. So you can see the method to their madness. The problem is London still thinks this is where they're at. There's one thing on Keynes I got to read you. July 14th, 1993. Keynes, that's my notes. Keynes was brought in by FDR, led to the mass depression and the worst economy in the world by Keynes. Depression caused by underconsumption is what he said. That's not what happened. It's caused by printing money. Producing more than consuming, tax the rich. This is what Keynes thought. 1936 tax and spending spree by government, the New Deal, heavy progressive income taxes, high inheritance tax, excess profit taxes. This is why we had a major depression, because we listened to Keynes, because he was a fucking idiot. Why they're using Keynesians now and haven't learned that he's a fucking idiot, I don't know. The economy drops. So listening to Keynes, the New Deal, all these higher taxes, economy drops, major recession, 1937 to 1940. New Deal ends in 1938. Once we figured out that taxing doesn't work, we took it off. Keynes was a protectionism, worried about unemployment, wages are rigid downward, monopolies, tariffs, and unions. Sounds like Trump, protectionist, monopolies, and tariffs. Monetary, increased demand. This doesn't work. It's inflationary. Monetary policies and fiscal policies. So he wanted to print more money, which is inflation. Fiscally, stimulate the economy, government spending. Disagrees with Say Law. That's why we are Say's Law, because that's how it works. We get the money and we spend it on what we want, and we want M&Ms. People make M&Ms for us. We want a blue shirt. People make blue shirts. He wanted government spending, and that's what Tesla is, right? We'll make electric cars as government spending. We'll make rockets to Mars, government spending. Military complex, government spending. It doesn't fucking work. Doesn't work. But we're using this formula. I mean, that's like people not believing inflation, or why should I get into gold when I can buy Bitcoin? It doesn't work. All right, one page on World War II. Japan, the big issue was Manchuria, 1920s China. They had no natural resources, economic colony of Japan. 1917, communism, Mao Zedong takes over, makes Manchuria communist. 1931, Japan invades Manchuria to stop Mao and stops communism and protects investments. Bad fellow Stimson, the Secretary of State under Hoover, he wants to stop the Japanese from doing this. Then he agreed. Then he goes to FDR and he appoints him. And Stimson was a warmonger, so he wanted war, just like what's going on now. 1940, FDR declares an economic embargo on Japan. This caused Japan to go to war. Why are you doing this? What are you doing an embargo for? July 1941, oil and steel embargo on Japan. Oh, wait, because we want them in war so we can sell them our military defense contractors. Is that why we went to war and got Pearl Harbor so they can sell that? FDR won't negotiate. He pushes Japan into World War II, November 26, 1941. We all know what happens December 7th. Japan goes to war against the U.S. FD knows. He knows Pearl Harbor will happen, yet he doesn't tell anybody in Hawaii. He knows the Japanese are going to invade. FDR deliberately did not tell somebody because he wanted us in the war so we could buy from the defense contractors. What kind of crap is that? Right? This is our own government causing a war and getting invaded on purpose. What is that? What kind of idiot is this? 1943, Japan approaches the Pope. FDR won't negotiate. 1944, Japan approaches Sweden. FDR won't negotiate. In 1945, Japan approaches Stalin, and FDR won't negotiate. So Japan wants to get out of the war. They're getting killed, and they won't do it. So Japan, bottom line, went to war due to the oil embargo. This is why we do sanctions. We got a Russian-Ukraine war. Again, who's running the country? The defense contractors. Causing wars with oil embargoes and sanctions so they can sell weapons. What kind of bullshit is this, right? And this moron says, hey, it stops recessions. It doesn't stop recessions. It causes inflation, which is depressions. So it might stop recessions if you're stupid enough to think, well, they create jobs. That's Keynesian. Job creation does not stop recession because you still have bad prices and bad money. This is still worthless, and the prices are still high. So how does a war where people are working at Raytheon stop that? Well, it doesn't. It can't. So what the fuck are you talking about? Anyway, so a little WW2. I have some notes on that, but I did want to talk Keynes there. The medium of exchange is what everybody wants, so keep that in mind. That's what this is. This is the medium of exchange. This is not. That's why this is money. That's what money is. I love this one. Originally, cows were the medium of exchange. So could you imagine you're Raytheon, you go, okay, I need 100 cows for this missile. Oh, I love it. Two values, exchange and use. Convenience develops by economics makes this easier to carry in your pocket than a cow. And then it's even more convenient with the credit and debit card. So I have a card, I don't have to carry all this money. I don't know that digital money is more convenient than a credit card or debit card. I'm not quite getting that. And then medium of exchange is what everybody wants. Does everybody want crypto? No. You cannot go to Kroger's with crypto. Not everybody wants it. I don't want it. I don't know the value and I prefer gold. So what the fuck? how is crypto? That's why crypto can't be money, because it's not what everybody wants. It's it's a limited thing, person to person, not business to business. So it's to, I want to buy shoes from Jimmy and he sells me shoes and I pay you in crypto versus giving you a credit card and buying it with the credit card like we do for 99% of the things we buy. Even if we go to Amazon, we're using our credit card or a debit card for that. So it's really, it's not what everybody wants, Bitcoin or crypto. It's highly sabotage. Somebody can blow it up. All of a sudden, you don't have any money. It has no value because it's not real. So again, it is not money. It's not a medium of exchange. I don't want to get paid in it. I don't know what to do with it. Can I pay my utilities and my rent with it? No, then I don't want it. And that's the problem with it. It's really person to person. It's really about the Russian oligarchs and the drug money. That's really what it is. I'll pay you in crypto for the drug money. Until now they can see what we're doing, we don't want crypto anymore, because if I want to buy the drugs from you, I'm going to need this, because then it's not trackable. So Bitcoin initially wasn't trackable. Now it is. There you go. 400-ounce gold bar is 100,000 million, 2 billion and 50. What was I talking? Oh, so is that what it is in pounds? I don't know. I got pounds in there. Anyway, that's just a note. Qualities of the medium exchange. It must be portable. So it's got to fit. That's why a cow is not. But I don't know that Bitcoin, it's in your wallet. Is it really portable? Source. It's got to be scarce to give it a high value. Is this scarce? Is Bitcoin scarce? Is 21 million Bitcoin, if there is the real number, scarce, but then you can't use it. So it's out. Overabundance loses value, as we see, called inflation. Divisible for small exchanges. Yep, you can use that with gold. Fungible, everything is the same. It's replaceable. So I can get more gold and replace it. I can get more dollars and replace it. So yeah. Acceptance, which is the key, which is not Bitcoin, and it's gold will be where we're going to. Durable, well, gold's indestructible. The dollar, I could burn it or I could do other things with it. Value, most marketable commodity, and that's what you have with gold. All of these are gold, has all these qualities. Money is the most marketable security, which is this. Market decides that money is market and value. See, it always comes back to the market. Money is marketable and value, what the market determines. That's why you can't force a war and have the defense contractors do this, because the market has to determine it. And that's what FDR was doing by letting Japan invade Pearl Harbor, got the market into the war, saying, oh, well, we got to defend. They invaded us, even though we let them and knew they were going to do it. They invaded us, so we have to fight back. And that's how he got the market into World War II, because he couldn't go into Germany and into Europe before then. But after that, and then Hitler saw what happened, and Hitler said, oh, I declare war in the U.S. He had submarines outside of New York City ready to fire on what the Federal Reserve. He wanted the gold there. He knew where the gold was. He took the gold out of every other country, so he was going to New York to take the gold out of Federal Reserve. But again, he needed to create a war so his military could come in and steal the gold. Israel did it better at 9/11 when they stole the gold out of the Federal Reserve and the buildings, the 9/11 buildings. Money functions. It's a medium of exchange. Work for money to buy food, as we know. Store of purchasing power. Spend over time, like an IRA. And unit of account, measurement of account, common denominator, made or lost money. So I buy a stock, that I make or lose money. That's how you measure it. So those are the three money functions. So Bitcoin won't work, gold will. Gold can buy food. You can have a gold standard again. Unit store of purchasing power, spend over time. Well, look at what we're doing with gold now. We're holding it, keeps going up. It's a storage of purchasing power, and a unit of account measures common denominator, made or lost money. Well, again, we're making money on gold. It went from 1,700 to 2,900 now. So you're making money on gold. You're going to make a ton on gold, and you're going to make a ton on silver. It is a wealth preservation, as Egon tells us, because of this being not scarce. Overabundance of this loses value. Scarce keeps the high value. This is why I showed you this thing at the grocery store. I'll show you again. So this is this is a store of value. In 1970s, this is what $20 did to your grocery cart. In the 80s or 90s, you got a little bit less. And now today, what is there? 5 things in your grocery cart. That's the value of the money going down, right? This is when there was not much printed, and now there's 170 trillion printed. And look at the value of the grocery cart. There's 5 things in it versus a full grocery cart. And this is like the 80s, or maybe the late 70s. But that's my point. That's what you're doing with gold. It's a store of value because it's limited. That's the key to it, right? It's got to be scarce, keeps the value high. You can't print gold, you can't counterfeit it. So you get into it because it's scarce. It's what everybody wants. It's high demand. It's acceptable. It's divisible for small exchanges. It's portable. You can turn it into this backed by gold, and it's the same thing you have now, only they're backed by gold. And that's where you must understand it. Once you see there's no gold backing your currency, don't walk but run to the exits. And you could have bought gold. As soon as this happened in 1971, you could have bought gold at $35 an ounce. It's $2,900 now, on its way to at least 5,000 and probably much higher. It'll be higher, but I mean, right now we're going to 3,500 and then 5,000 because there's not enough gold to pay off all these derivatives, number one. And the demand for gold keeps going to the roof because everybody realizes the dollar's worthless. And if people are spending on these wars and they buy the material, buy the weapons, they don't have money for it. So if they print, then their money's worthless anyway. So if I'm really the defense contractor, so if I'm running Raytheon, I don't want euros and British pounds and Swiss francs. I want gold for my stuff because I know your money is worthless. And no, you don't take the money out of circulation. I mean, the guy, what an idiot statement that was. Oh, they buy the dollar and it's out of circulation, makes it stronger. What are you insane? The money never comes out of circulation. So because I have this euro, is it out of circulation because I have it? Is the euro worth more now because I have €5? I mean, come on, man. Now I know why the CIA is so inept. If this idiot's coming on as a CIA guy, Jesus Christ, pretty weak. So I got some interest. I've been going through my notes. Let's look at the gold standard as long as, this will be our last thing. 3 classical currency systems. Number 1 is the gold standard from 1815 to 1914. All the countries went on the gold standard. It's sort of like 100 kilometers is 62 miles an hour. So everybody knew what it was worth. They all measured their money fixed weight to gold. Fixed weight, the English pound was a 1/4 ounce of gold. The dollar was 1/20th of gold. And the Latin franc was 1/80th of an ounce of gold. 1 pound equaled $5, so 1 British pound. The gold standard must have to be what you must have to be on the gold standard. It's got to be a fixed weight. It's got to be convertible, common denominator gold, and convertible must be convertible. Okay, I got that one. Is there not another thing? Anyway, so it's got to be convertible. You take your dollar in, you get to convert it to gold. Gold is a self-regulating system. You don't need regulations for it. Most things you don't need regulations for. The classical gold standard, the advantages can be returned into gold. No inflation, low interest rates, high and steady economic growth rates, no speculation in currencies. The weight of gold is set. No foreign exchange risk. Disciplined governments. Well, that's the big problem. We have one disadvantage: no monetary policies by government. So the government can't spend. So I don't think that's a disadvantage. Increase in the price of gold, miners' production goes up. Floating exchange rate, 1971 to present, is what we have now. The assumptions all current currencies are fiat, not tied to gold. Bills and hope, court to debt. What drives supply and demand? Interest rates go up, demand goes up. Interest rates go down, demand go down. I guess that's for fiat. Expected inflation. All economic decisions are based on the future. Pretty intense. So that's the gold standard. It's basically you have no wars, you have no inflation. Tell me what's wrong with it. Oh, the government can't be corrupt and take all the money, and we can't add money to the defense contractors because we're limited because it's based on gold. Now, what you could do is raise the price of gold. You can make gold go from $30 an ounce to $100 an ounce, for example. So I don't know why we're at $44 an ounce in the Fed, but it should be $3,000 an ounce. Because that's what it's worth now, because the money's worthless and they're not changing it. But that's why you should be on the gold standard. If you don't want wars and you don't want inflation, there are two pretty good ones there. And then you won't have wars because nobody can afford these weapons, right? The Tomahawk missile and everything. They can't sell it to you. I'm sorry, I don't have money. And I don't need a war because I got gold. I'll maybe have a war over gold like Hitler did, but basically that's it. So that is the gold standard, everyone. And that is what we're pushing for. And that's where we're headed to. And that's why we buy gold and silver. For that reason, you can't print it. You can't inflate it. So it only can go up in value. And this is where Alligator says it's not gold. It's not gold going up, it's the dollar going down. That's what he means by it, is as we inflate the dollar, it takes more dollars to buy the gold. But part two is if there's huge demand, that also raises gold and the price is going up. And that he doesn't understand that. But that's what he means, as the dollar loses value because it's being printed, as anything that's too printed loses value. It takes more money to buy gold, is what he's trying to say. But what he misses is, but if there's demand for any item, the price goes up, even though the dollar is worthless. So this is totally irrelevant. This is 100,000 with inflation. The dollar goes out, this might go to 150,000. But this doesn't go up because of inflation. It goes up because of demand. That's how a free market works. The more people that want the Montana rookie card, the higher the price goes. That's how the price got to 100 grand for a PSA 10, of course. That's how the price gets there, is the demand pushes the price up. This is what an auction will pay. We do not have regular auctions for gold and silver. When you go on eBay, it is a Comex price that they're doing. So as long as we're smart enough to realize the Comex price is bullshit because it's derivative based, not free market. Free market, I sell it, somebody buys it. That's how you develop the price. That's not what's happening with gold. Nobody's selling it to anybody. They're just using derivatives and fucking around and price fixing it. So us being intelligent people go, oh, well, then it's really worth a lot more than it is. Well, that's why we go buy it. And then they're breaking Comex. And as Pat said in the beginning, everybody wants their assets. And that's the key. Once everybody wants their gold, they want the physical from the derivative. So as Comex is playing their stupid game, they end up where, wait a minute, I want to take delivery. I want physical gold. You got to go get it for me. And they'll be in a lot of trouble if they don't, because they're fucking with the Chinese and the Russians. So they want their gold. We have to settle it. And that's what's going on. So it must go higher in price because they have to buy it. The demand is there. And that's why I keep saying gold's going to go way higher, because the price it's at now is not real. Again, this is the real price of gold, and this is the Comex price. In other words, this is what the market will buy the gold for. And this is the Comex price. And the problem with Comex price, there's no supply of gold at this price. You can't buy gold at this price. Nobody's selling it at this price. So your price is fucked up. This is the real price up here. We don't know what this is. 10,000 maybe? We don't know, but we know that Comex, otherwise they would just go buy it and settle. Right? Okay, China, you got all this tons of gold we owe you because you took delivery of the gold. Here you go. That's not what happens. And that's the problem. So keep that in mind. That's why we buy gold now, because you can't inflate it. And that's basically all these derivatives that need to be settled with physical gold. They need the physical. There isn't any. It's gone. It's all gone. The 200,000 tons is sitting in China Bank, Putin swimming pool, India, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, and all the other BRICS countries, because now there's 20 of them, and it is about to be 50 on its way to 100, because everybody wants out of the dollar because of the conditions. The U.S. tries to bully everybody, and everybody wants gold. So everybody's buying gold, and they know gold's going to go up, or maybe they were just taught by Putin, hey, you want to own gold, gold can't be inflated. I don't know what it is, but I know that I know you can't inflate gold, but I mean, I don't know what's causing everybody, but they're all joining BRICS and they're all buying gold, and there's not enough gold going around, which is going to raise the price. So you can't lose in it. It's a great asset to have, and you will go broke in Bitcoin and that, and stocks and real estate trusts and money in the bank, because they keep printing it, making it worthless. And as people need money, they'll sell their stocks, they'll get out of the bank, and that'll end the stock market, because if there's no demand, if everybody's selling stocks and nobody's buying, the price goes down. And you see it's starting to happen already, but not that much, but it will happen. And what kills me is Warren Buffett he's got all this money. He thinks he's going to buy stuff cheap. And when he doesn't realize his money won't be worth anything. Oh, we're the U.S. How can the money be worthless? Because that's what happens when you print it to death. That's what printing to death means. Printing to death means it's worthless. Nobody wants it. It's worthless. That's how a market works. If nobody wants my Canadian club, it's worthless. Otherwise, I can get $70, $100 for it. But it's worthless if I put it on auction and nobody wants to buy it. But because it's whiskey, you always have somebody who wants to drink it. But that's what's happening. So with that, I will leave you. Does it cost any money to melt down a gold bar into 1 ounce coins? Of course it does. Anytime you use labor, it's going to cost you. Unless you have a melter, like in Money Heist. Go watch Money Heist. They all had to melt it down into pebbles and melt it back into bricks. I'm not even sure you can, where you would go to melt the gold. Well, I mean, my guy, when I gave him the ring and the bracelet, he sent it to the melter and probably got gold bars or coins for it, I would imagine. But yes, it's definitely going to cost you money. I don't know how much, but that's something you'll have to find who does it in your area, and try to figure that out. Anyway, if you want to email me, go ahead. You'll see it on teaserking.com and the whole page. And have a great day. We'll have to figure out what to do for my birthday on the 7th. I'm sure I'll buy some silver at least, or 10-ounce gold or something. And that's it. So off to the pool today. Got Chinese yesterday. I'm going to eat that now. Off to the pool. And that's it. So have a wonderful day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. And I'll wait one more minute if you have any more questions or comments. Okay, Prophet. Well, I'm here. I'll be. I watched The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo yesterday. I liked that one. It was so classy at the end where she steals all the money, and I was like, yeah, that's, that's what I want. I want to be a hacker. So it's a good movie. It's funny how it comes on and off and everything. And I bought the Batman movie on eBay for like $8. So the one thing with eBay, they're charging tax on that kind of stuff. It's ridiculous. You can't charge tax on used videos, only on new stuff, I think, but I don't know, whatever. It was not a lot of money in tax. But anyway, that's about it. So have a good day. Buy your gold. Again, it'll come out about 6:30 tonight. China will start. They've been doing some weird stuff. They've been shorting and not going long on their gold. I assume they want to buy more, or maybe Trump's got them selling it. But I'm noticing like 8, 9 o'clock, it's going down. I would expect it to be going up today because it's down to 28.59, and I think we want to get it back to 2,900. It only helps the people with gold, so I think that's what we'll see that tonight. Anyway, have a good day, the professor. So, questions or comments on this? Just give me an email. I try to explain it very well, and the reason I have other videos to expose that they're wrong, because people are listening to these videos assuming he's right, and you saw how excited he got with the 3 points, and he was wrong on all 3 of them. So this is the CIA at its finest. All right, have a good night. I will have a good day. I will talk to you tomorrow. All right, take care, everybody.